I don't know if it's bad journalism. I don't know if it's misunderstanding. I don't know if it's just more sensationalism to try and get clicks on things. But there is a lot of confusion with what's going on as far as BCIs, brain computer interfaces, or brain chip stuff, Elon Musk, Neuralink, and all this stuff. There seems to be this idea that's going around of Neuralink just put in a brain chip in the human for the very first time ever, which is false. Really, what happened was Elon Musk, his company Neuralink, they put in their brain chip into a human. That's the first for Neuralink, and I talked about this over a year ago. When Elon Musk they were still doing tests on like monkeys and whatnot. But I think now is a good time to bring this back up as far as this goes. So let's go ahead and talk about what I'm talking about here. So Elon Musk Neuralink implants brain chip in the first human. If you read that, it makes it seem like, hey, look, for the first time ever, a company has put a brain chip in a human. Well, slow down. So this is coming from yesterday. This is Reuters. It says the first human patient has received an implant from brain chip startup Neuralink. So first time for Neuralink on Sunday and is recovering well. The company's billionaire founder Musk said, initial results show promising neuron spike detection. He posted on Twitter. Spikes are activity by neurons, which the National Institute of Health describes as cells that were used electrical. So basically, it's your brain function, electrical signals coming from your brain. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, yeah, because we know they are so good at their jobs, had given the company clearance last year to conduct its first trial to test its implant on humans. Critical milestone in the startup's ambitions to help patients overcome paralysis and a host of neurological conditions. In September, Neuralink said it received approval for recruitment from the human trial. The study uses a robot to surgically place a brain-computer interface (BCI) implant into a region of the brain that controls the intention to move, Neuralink said previously, adding that its initial goal is to enable people to control a computer cursor or keyboard using their thoughts alone. So basically, being able to interact with the computer and use it just using your thoughts. You don't have to use a mouse or a keyboard or anything like that. Now, this is the first time this has happened. They recently got nailed for, or there was rumors of, I guess I should say, about monkeys. They were putting it in monkeys, and some monkeys died. Elon said the monkeys never died, but they had like swelling and inflammation and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that because it doesn't really matter at this point. But what we see here is, again, even just if you just read the headline, which I always say, don't just read the headline, always look further into it. It looks like, oh, first human ever to receive a brain chip. Well, that's not exactly true. We're seeing the broadening of mixing man with machine and allowing the use of computers through thought. This is the unification of not only body, but of mind with computers and AI and the advancement of transhumanism. Ultimately, we're seeing the progression of the pursuit to get back to Babel. What does that have to do with all this? Because back at Babel, it's always important to remember most of the stuff that we see, honestly, taking place is about getting back to Babel. It's about becoming gods. If you go back to the story of Babel, Valley of Shinar, they're always talking, it says, let's build us a tower to the heavens for us. Basically, they're saying we are gods. And if you read further into it, it talks about because they had one language, that was basically a very dangerous thing, because then humans could be able to reach limits that God did not want us to reach, basically to say. So that's when God said, not going to happen, scrambled the languages and then scattered people across. But the goal was to become gods. And so when we see this, what we see going on with the mixing of man, machine, quantum, AI, all these types of things, BCIs, everything like that, it's trying to advance humans to that godlike level. Now, I did a huge thing on the End Times New Age series regarding this, because that's part of the mystery religion that we're seeing. But ultimately, it's a lot of Christ consciousness and conscious evolution, which is the belief that we are gods within us. So this goes back to Gnosticism, and then it spread from the Tower of Babel. That's where that comes from. And so there's this belief that we are gods, and some like to say we can be co-creators with God. Like what's his face? Peter Thiel believes that through technology we will be able to be like God and be co-creators with him. And then others think, well, God is just the process of our thoughts, of human thoughts, since we're all deity, we're all divine because of the power of our thoughts. We can do things. So we must reach the next evolution. We must go through Christ consciousness and conscious evolution to do it. Conscious evolution has to do with the melding of man and machine. So implanting brain chips, advanced cybernetics in humans, connecting us to the cloud, to AI, to quantum, and all these types of things has to do with advancing us, mixing man and machine to become gods. But like I said on my Telegram yesterday, we need to hold our horses, or hold the horses. I don't know if you own horses or not. Hold them if you do, because this isn't the first time. So many like to focus on the name of Elon Musk. Now, this is an important thing. I've tried to make this point often, and I'm going to say it again. So if you've heard me say it before, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's just how it goes. Many try to focus on the name of Elon Musk rather than the news about what comes with it. It's a psychological warfare strategy to allow things to fly under the radar. What am I talking about? Because BCIs are connected to Elon Musk, who's a very high-profile name, high-profile character that a lot of people follow, they just naturally think that any news that comes out about Elon Musk is the first ever of it, rather than looking underneath the radar and noticing that this stuff may have been going on already for years, but because it wasn't attached to somebody like Elon Musk, we don't pay attention. So I think that's a lot of it. I talk about the same thing like when it comes to Klaus Schwab and the WEF and these types of things, because say Schwab, Gates, Harari, some of these people talk about these things because they're the ones who said it. It has to be the first time it's ever been said. And then I've talked about how somebody like Nita Farahani, who most people have never even heard of that name before, while Noah Harari might be talking about something to do with the brain, Farahani's the one that's already been doing it for years prior to him talking about that same thing. And so what we see, we have another issue of that happening here, because since all these other companies that are doing it aren't Elon Musk, then we shouldn't be paying attention to that. Just pay attention to what Musk is doing. I hope that makes sense. This is definitely a strategy that they used often. I guess it's the classic, magician's code. Whatever the right hand's doing, pay attention to the left. Now, BCIs, brain-computer interfaces, have already been being implanted in people for years, probably longer than we're allowed to know. So let's look at one of those companies first, Synchron. Let's take a look at Synchron. Now, this is coming back from 2022. Says Sci-Fi No More, Synchron implants mind-reading device in first U.S. patient in paralysis trial. So they already did this back in 2022. It says Synchron's Stentrode system was implanted in the trial's first participant at Mount Sinai West Hospital in New York City. The company announced Tuesday kicking off the FDA-authorized study of a device that aims to convert the thoughts of people with paralysis into action. Again, this is 2022. Unlike other proposed BCIs, Synchron's BCI technology doesn't require open brain surgery or drilling into the skull. Instead, it can be put in place in a minimally invasive surgery that takes only about 2 hours. If we keep going, that is the device there. You can see it's very, very, very small. It says, as the name suggests, the Stentrode system centers on a permanently implanted stent-like device that it's inserted through the jugular vein to reach the motor cortex of the brain. So this thing, they just slide it into the vein and it shoots up to the brain. They don't even need to go from the outside of the head. Once it's in the brain, it can pick up neurological signals denoting an individual's intended actions. Now, Synchron's Brain OS technology platform collects those signals from a receiver unit implanted in the chest. So you got that thing that shoots up to the brain, then you got something in the chest. They connect, or they work with each other, and it translates in real time into clicks and keystrokes on a computer or mobile device. An additional eye tracking device is used to control the movement of the computer cursor. They've already done this. It's already been used. I believe Synchron's the one where they actually put it in somebody and they sent out a tweet using only their thoughts, their mind, to send it out. And again, that's back in 2022. So just go back a couple of years. It's already been done with this company called Synchron. Let's go a little bit further back to 2017, shall we, to take a look at Blackrock Neurotech. It says Blackrock Microsystems powers experimental system that enables patients with paralysis to type fast and accuracy in a clinical trial. Again, this is 2017, so even further back. And it says right here, a team led by 2 researchers from Stanford University recently reported a breakthrough powered by Blackrock Microsystems technology. The scientists implanted a brain-computer interface, the BCI, that enabled 3 patients with severe limb weaknesses to type via direct brain control at the highest speeds and accuracy levels reported to date. Patients demonstrated typing up to 40 characters per minute, 68 words per faster. So 40 words a minute using only their noggin, not actually typing. Now, if we go a little bit further on this, that was 2017 that first came out. Well, if we look at this, it says another company, Blackrock Neurotech in Salt Lake City, Utah, has already gotten similar neuroport array chips implemented in human patients. The device pokes through the skin, making it a lot less discreet. So this does actually, you can see it on the outside. So it's not as slick as Neuralink and Synchron, but it is functional. And it's already been put into 50 people as of 2023. So 50 people as of 2023 for Neurotech, Blackrock Neurotech. Then at least 3 as of 2022 for Synchron. And bringing up the rear is Neuralink and Elon Musk. Now, again, because the name is Musk, they disregard all this other technology, but it's these people that fly under the radar that are getting the grunt work done on this stuff. And so don't just get caught up with names and faces and whatnot. I understand the thing about Musk. I get it because he's definitely hooked up with a lot of very bad things, but don't lose track of what's going on and verify, because I'm just seeing the stuff floating around in the prophecy sphere. Nobody's actually verifying anything. They're just passing along the same stuff that they hear from people. And now you have a whole bunch of people who are all freaking out in the prophecy sphere when this stuff's already been going on since at least 2017. And that's not even talking about DARPA. We get the DARPA in just a second. But what I want to show you is I have a video of the Blackrock Neurotech stuff and how it works. Let's actually see how this stuff works, shall we?
All right, so let's first just kind of initial run, exercise those brain muscles. We're not going to use it for training, but keep following along.
All right.
All right, so what we have here is our view into James's brain. Each one of those neurons is telling us something about what James wants or experiences in the world. And we can use that to train statistical models and allow his brain activity to drive motion of the cursor.
I'm imagining following that cursor, kind of like a PlayStation controller. To think that I can control the computer, the cursor, just by thinking about it is mind-blowing. But now I'm going to apply it to what I love to do the most. Photoshop. So right now I'm just gonna do a simple blend of 3 different photos. We're gonna put her face in the background, get like a soft brush that allows me to fade and make my brush a little bigger. I'm just gonna fade
We need to create a new Bob Ross series with you in Photoshop.
Yeah. So that dude was controlling it with his brain, and you can see how he was just being able to fly around the screen and do what he wanted to do on that. Now, again, that's the more you can see it. Obviously, he's got plugs on his head and whatnot. I see somebody asking in there, is Elon Musk's the least invasive of the three? No, Synchron is actually the least invasive. To get Neuralinks, you actually have to have the thing bolted to the skull. Neuralink does not do that. It just goes up through the vein and something put in your chest. So even at that level, Elon Musk still isn't ahead of the game. He's still behind some of these other these other companies. So, but we can see what's going on. You're watching somebody just control a computer with their head, with their mind, like that. And so, back in 2022, the Blackrock Neurotech actually announced an upgrade to what they're doing called Neuralace, and this is actually going to be one of the most powerful. Actually, it's upgrading the channel for the BSI. I'm not going to get into the stuff, but it makes it run faster, be able to process faster, and give the user more accessibility in user. It's going to go up to 10,000 channels in there. I think it's sitting currently at like 600 on the technology that they're using, I think, and it's going to go up to 10,000. So that's quite a jump. That's quite the increase in the power that's going to be coming from this. And then along with that, let's not forget there is our wonderful, lovely friends, absolutely nothing evil going on over there at all, from DARPA. What they're going now, I've done updates on this DARPA stuff. They've got everything from people controlling robot avatars with their mind, doing stuff like this. And I actually just did a report about how there's not even any chip in somebody's brain, just a strip of graphene behind their ear allows the soldier to control 3 drones using their mind. And they're working on technology to allow the user to control 250 drones just using their mind as well. So my point on all of this, has to do with the fact of things are further ahead than we're allowed to see. Again, we tend to just look at the faces who we're told to look at. They float people like Schwab and Musk and Gates and stuff in front of our faces because they want us to follow these people. While behind the scenes, under the radar, they're getting all this stuff done, and they're much further ahead than what we're allowed to see. Do I have the answer to what they have and how far ahead they are? I don't. But just using deduction of what we see and what we do know, and then what the little snippets are coming out from these companies, they're much further ahead than we're being allowed to know. So with all that, don't get distracted by names. Keep the focus on finding out the truth of it all, which means sometimes we have to not just look at the headline that's getting passed around. We actually need to go and search these things and find it. Sometimes it only takes 5-10 minutes. We've got to be active in this and not just go with the flow of what we're being told. I don't know how many times I come across things that people are just passing that a 2-minute search, I debunk it. And I'm not trying to, put anybody down. I'm not trying to prop myself up or anything. It's just, I think we just need to be a little bit more active when it comes to this stuff. Because if you just type in brain computer chips and whatnot, you can just, that's how I found this stuff. It only took me a few minutes to look it up. And at the same time, don't always just go off of headlines. Really. Because again, if you just read that headline, it looks like for the first time ever, somebody has a brain chip when that's not it at all. Yes, we are definitely entering a time where we're seeing the mixing of man and machine. It is definitely happening. The pursuit to get back to the Tower of Babel, to get back to Babel, is definitely here. Build back Babel, I guess you could say. It's definitely happening. And coming along with this stuff is one of the main things that God focused on. He told us in scripture was he scrambled the languages. Well, what they're working on is trying to create a universal language again. And so if you strap everybody with this technology, whether it's AI, whether it's brain chips, whether it's quantum stuff, any of it, they're working on trying to get that universal language back. Again, I don't know how long ago it was, but I just did a report on how India is, they have a company that is working on a payment processing system. So if you want to pay a store or pay a person, you just speak, it'll auto translate and send the currency to the next person. That's entering not only the territory of one world economy, but it's also getting back to a universal language again. You see how all these things seem to be trying to get back to Babel, trying to get back to that whole point, to be like gods. And again, you can get that same information from the talking heads like Klaus Schwab and Harari and all these people, where they're talking about, we will be the gods. We'll write our own Bible. We'll have our own doctrine. Not some God above the clouds, but the God in the cloud. And so they've talked about these things. It's about getting back there. And it's further along than I think we even realize. I'm not going to sit here and say I have the answers, because I don't. But I'm just going off of what I see, and it's just, they're definitely further along than what we're allowed to see.